Hello fellow tankers, this is Dauntless, and today I'm going to be playing in my Tier 8 Chinese premium vehicle, the 59 Patton. The map today is Fjords, and it looks like it's going to be a Tier 9 battle. Looking at the enemy lineup, they have no artillery, which means I can afford to be a little bit aggressive on the hill, more than maybe usual. It's difficult playing on the A line with a medium tank just because when you expose yourself, you do leave yourself prone to being shot at anything that's down in the C5, C6 area, such as tank destroyers, and also you're very exposed to artillery. And so when I push the hill in a medium tank, I primarily like to take the edge more in the B8, B9 area, opposed to down below in the open. And you'll see what I mean in a second. This is actually a pretty common spot that a lot of people tend to abuse, but even in a slow tank like the 59 Patton, it's actually not too hard to get up there. So I'm going to be climbing up here, like you just saw. That's the way you get up there, and I'm going to be pushing forward. Now the 59 Patton has pretty good gun depression, and it recently got its penetration buffed to 212, I believe, which means that frontal armor of an IS-6 is going to no longer be an issue, when in the past its 189, I think, penetration would have had a hard time contesting it. So just like you can see, 212 penetration, no problem going right through the front of an IS-6. I feel bad for the IS-6, really. I feel like in the new meta, it's kind of an obsolete vehicle where it can't really penetrate anything, and everything can just penetrate it relatively easily like you're seeing now. So, quick shot into the IS-6's side. Unfortunately, it went into the side of the hill, but I'm going to try to redeem myself here, put another shot in. And as you can see, I'm just chewing up that IS-6, and he's having a very hard time getting shots back into me. His derpy gun doesn't allow him to connect with my weak spot, and I pull forward just a little too much there, and unfortunately, I get myself down below, which I was hoping to stay up there a little longer, but it's okay. I didn't flip my tank, and this Tiger 1 is giving me the front of his tank. Now, my weak spot, as you can see, is very well pronounced, and both of them are easily able to connect shots into it at this distance. And at this point, I'm kind of thinking, okay, I'm trading shots, I'm getting some damage in, I have 1200 so far, but I'm looking at the map, and the southern flank is looking kind of bad. We do have a T-95 down there, which is going to be able to hold its ground pretty well, but at the same time, in the north, we're not really doing too much. Yes, I'm trading with an IS-6, and I'm getting some damage in, and unless our team in the north decide to push in, we're not going to really be able to take it. And I could have been the spearhead, I guess, but I only had 700 health left, and in that decision, I made the snap choice to fall back and try to help out my southern flank. The middle looks like it's doing relatively well, and hopefully they'll be able to push north and help our northern flank clean up everything on the northern half of the map. But in the meantime, if these heavies in the south are able to get through our Tiger 2 and our T-95, it will be very bad for us because they will control the southern half of the map, and at that point it could be a toss-up. We are winning by 1 kill, but that's really not a big difference in World of Tanks, as many of you know, and I'm going to get myself into a position here where I can support the T-95 in case he's going to be flanked. Again, if I was full life, I'd probably be a lot more aggressive in the north with the rest of my allies, but considering I'm a two-shot for a lot of vehicles, I decided falling back is in my best interest. This Jagdtiger 8.8 decides he's going to try to flank our tanks in the south, and it's actually a really good thing that I decided to fall back here, because I'm able to put some nice shots into this Jagdtiger and get his health down quite low. Without our presence here, this Jagdtiger would just have a field day cleaning up these guys, and thankfully I was able to fall back fast enough to, by the time this Jagdtiger got here, he wasn't able to do too much damage. He was able to finish off our Tiger 2, it looks like, but not enough to do any damage to our T-95, which if he was able to sit there and just farm that guy, the T-95 would have been forced to turn and he would have been just evaporated, and at that point it could have been a 50-50. So I'm not going to sit here and wait for our T-95 to be swarmed. I feel like that would be a bad decision, and so I'm going to get off my comfy little camping position back there after the JigTig was taken out, and I'm going to push forward, hopefully to help this T-95 as he's about to be flanked by this Mauschin. Now, I just started playing this thing again after it got its gun penetration buff, and so I'm kind of curious to see what kind of penetration this thing actually has in terms of being able to penetrate the side of Mauschin. So it looks like 212 not too shabby, able to penetrate the side of that tank, no problem. The next shot I take bounces, which I kind of expect the turret is a little bit more bouncy at that angle. I think about putting another shot into him, but then I see this T25-2 is kind of giving me a side shot. It's a lot easier to penetrate, and he's not looking at me. It was a smarter decision to make. Now I'm hoping that this Mousechen is not looking at me. I'm going to risk pulling forward. Sure enough, he's giving me his side. I fire. I do critical damage to him somehow, but I'm not able to penetrate him. A little bit frustrating there because I feel like that should have penetrated, but I go for the turret this time. Somehow the turret is easier to penetrate, maybe because of the lack of spaced armor. Go for another shot. Easy shot into the side, and this gun is actually doing pretty good work right now. I'm actually pretty happy with the buff they gave this vehicle. I felt like it was kind of overdue. A lot of tanks such as the Patriot, which has superior penetration, superior armor, similar mobility, just would destroy the Patton in 2 seconds, whereas the Patton, what does it really have other than maybe a little bit of gun depression, right? And so the fact that it has this giant tumor on top, it's got less HP, less armor, and less penetration, I feel like it was overdue to get that buff that it so well deserved. So I'm able to put that nice finishing shot into the Mousechen through the crack in between the buildings. He was unable to really do anything. I'm kind of waiting to see what these guys are going to do. This FV201 sees red. He's going to try to finish off a T95, but I'm able to put a nice shot into him, and the T95 finishes. Next, the KV4 is the only vehicle left as the Scorpion gets taken out by our ISU-152 that's sitting behind us. Our T95 goes in. He can probably easily take a hit, but he decides to side scrape for some reason and completely blocks me from pushing forward, and I end up taking a hit for it. The T95 realizes that the KV4 fired, so he pushes in for the kill, but I say no thank you, and I'm going to finish off the KV4. A little bit greedy on my part there at the very end, but I wanted to get another shot in. I got 3,800 damage, 2 kills, not a bad result for a tier 8 premium vehicle, especially the 59 Patton. So anyway, guys, hopefully you liked this replay. If you did, I'd really appreciate it if you give it a like down below. And if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel for more content like this in the future. As always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you guys later. Hello fellow tankers, this is Dauntless, and today I'm going to be playing a game in my Tier 8 British tank destroyer, the Charioteer. As a lot of you know, the Charioteer is one of my favorite vehicles, and this is because as a turret, it has great penetration, not the greatest accuracy, but it's got good mobility, and it's just overall a great tank to play. And recently Wargaming gave it a -10 gun depression buff, which makes this thing insane at its tier. And this is just a tier 9 game, but even in a tier 10 game, this thing is very, very competitive, if you ask me. The only downside is what you see here is the gun is extremely unreliable unless you actually aim and hold, wait for the reticle to get smaller. And so a lot of those snapshots don't expect to be making when you play this vehicle. So right now, the T71DA is way out of position. Another bad shot on my part, plus the gun is trolling me a little bit, but we took the hill, he was out of position, and we were able to take him out, even though I actually did nothing. Another example of how you cannot snap with this gun whatsoever, but I'm still putting pressure on that T25-2, and I forgot to mention, but the map today is Tundra, and it's going to be a tier 9 game. So this position is great, especially if you have gun depression, and I'll show you why this position is so amazing in a second when I actually start using it. So notice this bush right here in front of me that I'm looking through. This bush is amazing because you can actually peek around this corner as long as there's nothing in front of you, and you can get shots onto vehicles that might be hiding in this area. So tanks here, and also tanks hiding up here, which is very common tank destroyers. You can actually peek forward, look through this bush, not get lit, take a shot, and then fall back. And it's also relatively arty safe as well. So I did get myself lit, so I'm gonna just wait the 10 seconds that are required for me to be unspotted again, and then I'm just going to go ahead and do the same thing over again. This position is also great because if anything dares to push down the 2 line like that T-29, I'll be able to get shots on him as well. So again, I can peek forward like this, not get lit, put a shot on him, and then by the time he gets lit and I'm lit, it's too late. You can't do anything because I'm already behind the rock. So this T-29 again is being scissored by our T-71DA and our Mutts. He's kind of not sure what to do. I think he's backing up, trying to engage at least one of them, and I'm able to put a nice shot into the side of his vehicle just because I can. Now at this point I realize that our 1 line is very, very much just completely overrun with enemy vehicles. While our hill is not really pushing, I can't push very effectively because I have hardly any HP. I have a paper tank destroyer, and again I can't make snapshots, and so this tank is more of a sniper if anything, and somewhat of a brawler. And you know, I'm not going to be able to push that aggressively. If that RHM puts 1 shot into me, I'm basically going to be out of the game. So I decide it's my duty to fall back. I'm in a quick enough vehicle, and I'm going to take a position that some of you may or may not know. This position is located up on this A7, A8 hill, and you can get up here by, you know, you can be in a relatively mobile vehicle and still make it up here. You just have to climb up just like this and then turn your vehicle around. I peek over hoping to maybe get a shot. I realize I don't have a shot yet, so I'm going to push up a little bit higher. Now if your tank has no gun depression, you're not going to be able to really take advantage of this position, but this place is amazing, and you are very vulnerable to arty as well as the hill, so make sure that you guys own the hill and that you're aware that artillery could bomb you at any second. So I'm in position here. This SU-144 or 122-44 is asking for help. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to keep him alive, but I am able to put a nice shot at the WZ-120. He's going to be my priority target, 1, because he's low on health, and 2, because he is a top tier in this game. And I'm losing some frames here for some reason. I'm not exactly sure why. This IS-3 pushes forward. I'm able to put a nice shot into him, and you can see where this gun at this medium to close range, as long as I'm aiming correctly, I am able to consistently put nice damage into these vehicles. Another easy shot into the side of the IS-3, taking him out of the game. This T-29 is the last one that's pushing on this flank, and right before I take the shot, someone else takes it from me, but that's okay. That entire flank that seemed lost, that was pushing up, completely wrecked by my tank, and I didn't lose a single HP of damage in the meanwhile. Now we can actually turn around and put the pressure back onto them, because now they have nothing on that flank. I decide that it's kind of in my best interest to push up down the bridge with the rest of my vehicles. Okay, never mind, I guess the Skoda is flanking around, but I want to try to get in there as quickly as possible. There's only 4 vehicles left. I know that this game is pretty much going to be in the bag, and because I know I'm not going to have a chance of getting flanked here, the bridge will actually give me a good chance to get some shots into these vehicles. The T-29 that I put a shot into earlier is completely distracted by something, probably the Skoda, and he gives me his side. I'm able to put a nice shot into him, and I'm going to be reloaded, so I'm going to put 1 more shot into him, and that was a pretty lucky shot. This, again, the Charioteer's gun is so derpy that there's a good chance that could have missed. The Tortoise here is driving down the hill. I don't think I'm going to be able to penetrate him anywhere other than that commander's hatch or cupola or whatever that giant tumor is on the top of his head, and so I'm able to put a nice shot into that, hoping for 1 more, and I'm able to do it. So that RHM, not ours but the enemy's, puts a shot into my side, and it makes me a little nervous because he rolled kind of low for 492, but if he rolls high he could easily take me out of the game, and I'm sitting at a nice 4k damage, and I want to try to get a couple more kills if I can. Also, I don't know if my team is going to have what it takes to actually carry this. The Tortoise is actually a really good player, and that RHM is being pretty sneaky, and I want to try to win this for my team just in case, you know, the guys up on the hill aren't able to get their shots in. I think this T-29 wants to pass me, so I get out of the way for him, but he decides that he's not going to pass. I say the T-29 is taken out, but I really don't want to move until this WT gets lit and or taken out. So I'm just chilling here. The WT on our side decides to push forward. I know that he's going to be lit any second. I use the mini map and his last known location to line up my shot, hoping that he's just going to suddenly appear, and I'm just waiting at this point for that RHM to light him for me. If I do get a nice shot in here, I'm going to just push around and try to finish off those tanks. RHM gets lit. I have no shot. He gets killed. There's only 2 vehicles left. They're both one-shots, and I know that, and I know I can take one more shot. So I'm going to peek around the corner, try to finish off one of these vehicles, whichever happens to be lit first. The T-34-2 has horrible aim time on his derp cannon that it looks like he's using there. Oh, maybe not. But regardless, I'm able to put the shot in first. I know I can take a shot there from the Tortoise, and I'm able to confirm the kill, ending my game at 4,300 damage. Really little assist and 4 kills. That's a pretty good result for a tier 8 tank destroyer if you ask me, and relocating and taking that A8 position I think was really crucial in finishing off those vehicles that were pushing into our 1-2 line, because without my presence there, those vehicles could have easily got up behind us, finished off the vehicles that were on our cap, circled around and even finished off tanks on our hill, killed our arty, etc. And so falling back into those known locations is a really good idea if you're in a mobile vehicle. Don't just hold on to your, hill that you so preciously fought for, because if you get yourself surrounded and your tanks are all isolated in one location like that, chances are you're probably gonna lose the game. So anyway guys, hopefully you found this gameplay entertaining. If you did, I'd really appreciate it if you give a like down below, and if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel for more content like this in the future. As always guys, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you guys later.